How's it going, everyone? To the surprise of absolutely nobody, the PlayStation 5 Pro 30th Anniversary Bundle sold out in mere seconds. This is something that I think most of us were expecting. I didn't know exactly how difficult the anniversary console was going to be to find, but given that there was only 12,300 made, it was gonna be GG no re for the majority of you guys to get the console. I had a buddy that literally had a few minutes on his queue, whereas a lot of people had like an hour on their queue. He couldn't even get the console, so if you didn't get the console, it was mostly never going to happen. But I just question, why even do something like this when you're limiting it that hard? Because you'd have to imagine the majority of people, or a lot of the people that actually got the console or wanted to get the console, just are scalping this thing. And it goes without saying, because it's already listed on eBay and it is being scalped. Now, obviously, I would imagine that right now the hype of this console is at its highest in terms of people wanting to buy it for the 30th anniversary. Generally, how I've seen scalped products work a lot of the times in terms of how the pricing goes is people will buy something up, in this case, the PlayStation 5 Pro 30th anniversary. It is, in fact, listed on eBay. $2,700, $4,500, $3,000, $2,500, $4,000, $3,500. By the way, the controller itself is $180 listed. We'll talk about the other items in a little bit, but mainly as far as the 30th anniversary PlayStation 5 Pro goes out of stock, gets relisted on eBay immediately. It'll find a settling point, this being people are going to price it sky high, and then ultimately, generally speaking, it'll come down and down to where people are going to be comfortable paying that amount for this 30th anniversary. I imagine, given that it was $1,000 USD over here in the States, it's going to settle at around $2,000, $2,500, and it's going to sell on eBay for $2,000, $2,500. The thing about an item like this is its true value appreciates over time. So a decade from now, 2 decades from now, it is going to continually go up and up in price because it's going to be perceived as a collector's item. That's generally how it works. Not everything follows this model, but generally, from my viewpoint of following things and collector's editions and things like that, that happens a lot of the times. I remember when Metroid Dread came out, a lot of people bought up the collector's edition of that, but Nintendo printed so many that scalpers took a bath on that one. But over time, even a collector's edition like Metroid Dread, once those get bought up, since it is a collector's item, chances are it'll go up and up in value. Things always are going to fluctuate a little bit differently, and there's going to be items that come out and they immediately soar in price. If you look at something like the Legend of Heroes titles, like Trails Through Daybreak, that collector's edition is already going for $180, $200, and that came out at $100 earlier this year. In fact, 2 months ago. So, there are things that jack up in price right away, and something like that isn't gonna go lower in price because there was such a limited amount and the price point has already been settled. Once the PS5 Pro anniversary settles at a price point, I highly doubt it's gonna go any lower because there's only 12,300 that have been manufactured. That is the main issue here. There is a very, very limited supply, and there are those people that bought the console to ultimately own it, hold on to it, use it, whatever the case may be. So if half of the people are buying the console to actually use it or hold on to it, that means only the other half is going to go back on the market, and that means 6,000 consoles are going to be on the secondhand market. And I'm just completely pulling those numbers out of thin air. I don't know how many people are going to be holding on to it. I don't know how many scalpers there are. There's no actual way to know what the amount is going to be. But my comment section, everybody was already throwing in the towel. The people that I talked to, everybody was throwing in the towel. You can do what you can, funnel the sales through PlayStation Direct. Really, I feel like Sony does that so they can collect all the revenue and they don't have to share it with a Walmart, a Best Buy, a GameStop. And sure, that'll stop scalpers to an extent. What I would argue is something like a 30th anniversary console, and I don't know if there's a way to do this. How about linking it to people that have tenure on the PlayStation Network? The 30th anniversary console is something that I feel that longtime PlayStation fans are actually gonna want. So, I get it that people could then like sell accounts that are old, and then, you know, that opens up another can of worms, but there's gotta be a way to figure it out. When there's only 12,300 made, I don't know if we could do like, you know, accounts with tenure, and then you have to have a certain amount spent on the PlayStation Network. I really don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas. There's gotta be something better than how it's handled right now when we're talking about a significant portion of these consoles being bought up by scalpers and immediately getting relisted. You're never gonna destroy scalpers entirely, and there's always gonna be an amount, but with something like the 30th anniversary console, I do feel like it's just ridiculous. And you know what the best way to do it and push away scalpers? Why limit it to 12,300? Like, I get it, it's supposed to be a collector's item, but you're just making the market like incredibly nonsensical, and you're giving a lot of opportunity for scalpers to make money. I get it that you want to create this perception of, oh my god, like we can't get this item, but ultimately, what good does that really do for Sony? Are they gonna collect a ton of revenue by having this perception? If there was 100,000 or 123,000 of these consoles made instead of 12,300, it would still probably be a scalped up item, but at the very least, it's gonna be less so a scalped up item. You can still price it at $1,000. It would probably still sell out. I just don't understand why we're limiting it this much. 12,300 is a minuscule, and let me reiterate, minuscule amount of consoles, where if you're talking about, like, let's say half being resold, that's 6,000 consoles that are actually getting to the hands of the people that want it. I don't know if you guys can comprehend how insane that is, but there's gotta be a better way to handle it, and I would just say, make more of them! And if nothing else, have something that's like a 30th anniversary, you know, a console with 12,300 made with the number engraved onto it or whatever the hell, and then do a second run where you're doing it again. This one doesn't have the number engraved, so the collectors that have the original run, they get to have those great, but there's a lot of people that just think the design is really cool and they want the design. Create that console for the people that want it. And people, I just see like so much nonsense on social media where people are like, all it took for you to get excited about the PS5 Pro was to change the color scheme. You guys are such losers. No, it's because those people want something that's a collector's item, and if you were gonna get a PS5 Pro anyway, the people that were gonna get it anyway, they would want something that harkens back to the PlayStation 1 and is a bit of a collector's item. It's just people will spin everything into the narrative that they want it to fit, that people are just, oh my god, it's a cool looking console. Well, there's a lot of people that actually did have a vested interest in the PS5 Pro. On top of that, getting a cool looking console, on top of it being a collector's item that's gonna appreciate in value, made it kind of a no-brainer for a lot of people wanting to get it. But I digress. Ain't anybody gonna get it now unless you want to pay $2,000, $2,500. Your best bet is to get the regular Pro if you do want that, and gotta do something to like mitigate like this level of nonsense with it. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.